Well, hello people, and welcome back to another episode of City Showcase. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're checking out the city of San Palma by Emilio, 130,000 population, custom asset modded CS1 build, built on the Tampico map just made by Mr. Miyagi and Teddy Radko. A really wonderful coastal build with a lot to explore. And don't forget, if you want your work to feature next time, fill out the link in the video description to the Google form. I'll do my best to get your city on the next episode. Otherwise, if you find yourself enjoying the video today, likes always help below. But otherwise, let's get stuck into yet another wonderful city showcase, shall we? Alright everyone, let's get a little glance as to the scale of this city, shall we? So the map is Tampico. It looks as though it's based on a real life Mexican height map, I suppose. It's very nice, it's super flat as well here, so if you're a big fan of flat maps, you'll probably have a lot of fun here. But it does look as though the project has unfortunately come to an abrupt end. We can see some certain dead networks here where expansion has stopped. Which is always such a shame to see for me in a city, you know, where you're like, oh, it's like, what would have been here before the project had to end? But either way, we'll get stuck into the waterfront here. So I guess, could you count this as a canal? I'm not sure what this would actually be classed as. It reminds me a lot of the LA River, actually, where it merges back into the Pacific Ocean. But either way, down here we'll find some part life assets, simple piers. We've got a custom boardwalk asset in here as well, of course, very popular one, this. Which you can now kind of recreate this aesthetic using the intersection marking tool on pedestrian roads just by using a decal filler. But either way, this heads all the way down into a really impressive skyline. We'll get stuck straight into downtown here. As we come up to the observation tower, that's a really nice tram loop into the green belt here. Where we'll see the transport tower. Parking. Let's get a little bit of a sense of structure of the arterial hierarchy through here, shall we? So I think pretty clear, very experienced CS player here. Really nice road structures all the way through the build. We'll check out the traffic while we're looking at the top-down view. 72%. There are some choke points knocking about. But again, you know, that's not much attention you want to pay to those red bits, and ultimately, the percentage it gives you is up to you. And then our transit ridership as well. Essentially just under 13,000 knocking about on the transit networks as well. Pretty evenly split between tourists and residents actually, which isn't usually something you see. It's usually swung much more into one way or the other. At least in my builds anyway. But look at these train networks here, right? Splitting multiple through the towers. Very dramatic transit systems here. Submitter did mention in their submission that they're very proud of the transit. They've used almost all forms of transit beyond helicopters and blimps. But either way, we'll get stuck into these blocks. We'll find expo centres tucked in with nightlife around the back here. Deathcare also tucked away. Some really nice inner city greenbelt spaces. I love these windy path networks all the way through. We also have some custom bike lanes in here as well. Isn't that a fun network? I've actually never seen that before. It's functioning as a pathway, isn't it? Because it's intersecting with part life paths here. Bike and ped path, amazing. Let's have a little look at this, shall we? I'm sure people are interested in this one. There you go, it's by Home on Mars if you want it. Really fun. It's going to show the variety on the workshop, doesn't it? You can go all these hours without seeing these networks. So you got bikes in the middle, pedestrians on the outside. I really like that network actually. Very nice. I will see green cities and commercial tucked into a harbour here, which is also accepting ferries. And we can see them heading back down the river. I'm sure we'll find a stop where they end up in a second. Green cities markets in amongst the Grand Mall, tropical gardens. Busy metro here with plaza space underneath. A little bit of sense of the walkability of the city here, perhaps, as people depart off the metro. Trams underneath. Also stopping as well. Great little convergence point, that. Especially plugged into your cycle network as well. Look how far that cycling path goes down as well. Big cycle highway right along the river. We'll catch up with that again in a second, I guess. The skyline is mainly made up of green cities, lots of wall-to-wall, always a classic combination. There's vanilla buildings in here too. Again, just a love for this, right? Metro curving through towers. Always very Japanese setting for me for some reason. I must have seen a screenshot of a city, well not a screenshot, a picture of a Japanese city with lots of that maybe. So look at this. Hello Glassbox train station. Instant win for this. And another instant win for the design at the front. Isn't that fantastic? Node controllers being used here. Really nice green cities detail. Now let's take a stroll down this mall, shall we? This is what I love, when you can see kind of a network has been planned around a major building. Like, look at the sightline you create there with that. Isn't that gorgeous? Especially the trains on the top. Or the metro, I guess. Trams down here too. Really wonderful central transit hub. I love the big centralised pedestrian mall. Especially with the glass roof plaza. Again, which goes so nicely with the glass train station, doesn't it? And the frames are tanking here as well, which means you know your transit is good. When the frames are dying. Busy platforms. Great stuff. Really nice little central transit area there. Yeah, we'll see further towers back to the service and services offices. And the casino down here. Lots of plaza work along the front. I really love this beach line here. Lots of palm line roads, pedestrian boardwalk. We've got the realistic functioning beach assets as well, of course. Thessia viewers will be very familiar with this. That really sweet. Really nice little beachfront. Yeah, we'll see loads of different things down here. Wall to wall, which has had some really small nightlife assets in this tiny little remaining space there. The hotels. Noticing little areas like this also taken care of throughout the city spaces. Which brings us into our major towers this side of the train station. It's a nice mix of all the different DLCs, really. This is a really nice inclusion of the vanilla office with wall-to-wall, isn't it? Definitely works, that. Loads of nice little fence gardens all tucked in here, overgrown and colourful. Inner city landscaping, fantastic. A little twin tower configuration here too. With plazas and residential design all around the bottom. Schools, IT cluster. And more towers here as we very much approach the city centre. We'll make sure to grab all these outer line bits on the pass back through. More little details within the inner city to enjoy. I love when you find stuff like this. And we also see that metro going back underground, which is actually kind of linked with the building there. That must be intentional. It's very cool design, that. There you go. Great way to integrate a bit of network into the city, isn't it? We then see it actually come back again in the station. That's such a nice visual, that, isn't it? Like, you see it immediately again through this underground peanut station. Really love that. And again, the orientation of these stairs against this metro plaza. Really wonderful inner city spaces to be found here, isn't there? Concrete through here representing alleyways. More of these big skyscraper assets. You really mixed in some low density in and amongst the, I guess what you would probably count as super talls in this instance, right? Which isn't something you usually see. Also got the luxury hotel here as well. Again, not an asset we see very often at all, this one, in City Showcase. But I think if there's a place for it, it's right amongst the super talls on a waterfront like this, isn't it? Because it is quite an obnoxious asset, this one. This, I think it's an After Dark hotel, I think, isn't it? I'm sure. Sure it's an After Dark asset. There's repetitive plazas, fantastic fountains. Lots more schools all tucked in here. And we're seeing more of this little introduction, little flashes of green space that are allowed to grow in the downtown. Around all this really wonderful curvy arterial road where we'll also see some European stuff. The submitter did say they are inspired by kind of aquatic American CBD, some Barcelona style super blocks as well. There was a fair bit of inspiration behind the city. This is a really gorgeous custom tram road as well, isn't it? So wonderful. And this all brings us back down to the beach, where we'll also see another glance at that amazing metro plaza. Is it the Six Rivers Centre or something like that? Sits very proudly as the very pinnacle of the skyline. Really happy with that. And lots of tenement buildings down here as well. Park spaces to enjoy. And you've done a really good job of blending different styles together. You can see vanilla assets in here. There's green cities. Plazas and promenade service buildings. More fused residential designs through here too. Little park assets on the corner. Appropriate corner building placement here. Really nice, tasteful inner city districts through this way. Oh, and we can also see the tram emerging from underground as well. Never seen that before. Where does that come back out? Over here. Have a look at that. Got rendered tunnels as well. Which is cool. That's amazing. Yeah, really fun underground tram network that. Never seen it done like that before. Back to the beachfront. From these big towers, we'll stumble across more repetitive residential design, green cities and vanilla in play here. Before our skyline really starts to fall away. More little plaza spaces to be enjoyed, some smaller pedestrian street in there. Back to more wonderful active beachfront. Really love how long and dramatic the beach is. Very Miami or kind of Gold Coast vibes this, isn't it? Which I really like. I always really love looking around the beachfront it is. Especially with a very tropical theme, lots of palms and stuff. Let's check out this little tram depot here. I guess, is this actually functioning as light rail? This is a custom tram network, isn't it? Have a little look at this one. Light rail tram tracks without fences. They're really nice networks then. Throw them up for those interested. Oh, there's some of Clue's networks, of course. Yeah. Clue's is a very good network creator. Yeah. Imagine there's a collection for these as the LRT tram network has a full collection. Really nice asset pack, that one. If you're interested, this is what's being used here. Which is really nice. Really love this. These little stations. Yeah, look at that. Really love those networks. That totally transforms the visual of your tram, doesn't it? Big fan of that. A detailing, of course, around the station before we come into a residential repetition. The submission also said that they took a lot of residential designs from Eastern Europe. Which I think is certainly what we're seeing here, isn't it? These big repetitive tower blocks. Really hammer home the Eastern Bloc, don't they? Nice design this. I've never seen these used like this before. Again, an idea I'll probably feed for Ilium. It's really nice. I like this. Again, more of that green space slabs come in as we guess we come across. I think certainly the Barcelona-inspired superblock section of the downtown here, right? These big obvious European buildings. And that have services really tastefully integrated into them. Schools, parks, parking. We can see trolleybus in here as well. Which I bet we can have quite a tidy view up here, right? This has obviously been plopped as well because we can see this flush commercial front on the curve. Which is really what damages the European builds for me if you don't plop them. Really takes away from the aesthetic. When you can't get this corner visual right. There's that tram track again. Looking really nice. Such a big fan of this asset, everyone. Set of the episode, that one, I think, isn't it? As we sweep back up to this end of the downtown before we see more of that European area, we'll see more of them over here with death care, pedestrian area. We'll stumble across those crazy elevated rails we saw earlier. This is amazing. Are train police happy with this? I imagine they are. This looks very train pro, I suppose. Look at that. Oh, all the trains going at once. Magnificent. What wonderful networks. So tall as well, aren't they? And that all goes off back down into another area over there. Yeah, train police are going to be happy with this, I think. Train police are going to be super happy with this. You'll have to see it. Let's not get too far away from the city centre though. Oh, we'll see another train station tucked in here. Some green cities and Japanese parking. Oh, a wonderful little detailed tram stop. I love this prop you've used for that. Very special. The courthouse is here, but we'll go that side of the tracks once we've finished downtown. And then more of these super blocks. Really good inspiration for kind of mixed zoning this. There's residential in with, well, all types. Office, commercial and residential are all in here. A really nice mixing combination. We also come across the old massive European style train station, which unfortunately isn't as busy as the central one, but that's okay. There's more of these little fun trolley bus stops here. There's some signage. Are they custom? They're definitely custom, right? Never seen those before. Are they actually on the asset? No, they're not. I didn't think they were. They're just a sign prop, right? Okay. Really nice. I like that. It's very effective, isn't it? A little bit of language in there. Like underground station sort of signage. Very nice. Another really cute little walkable public transit convergence. Trams, trolley bus, metro and trains all joining in the downtown. Really special. European vibes continue here as more of that green belt pops in to feel more important arterial corners. And then we'll come across to a bit of a trench here where an arterial road sinking down heading back to the beach. With more of the LRT. Love it. This is definitely the highlight of the build for me here today. Absolutely love this. Retaining more recession here as our networks cross over this arterial boundary into it's more a tenement apartment blocks. Great fusing of the vanilla assets this for packing in quite a lot of high density into a small space. I enjoy that. And then here we have a really nice corner of wall to wall. I love this big, well, this triplet of assets here. Just slightly fused on the angle. That's really nice. This then blends with emerging downtowns. As we sweep around the back. See more great ideas in repetition of residential. And these assets from emerging downtowns work so nicely as sort of social housing blocks, don't they? Perhaps cheaper apartments. Something a little bit less luxurious. All this right there. Parking space here factored in behind the buildings, up to staircases. Stumbling across realistic alleyway spaces is something I take a lot of enjoyment from. There's something happening down here again too. There's even a pathway here actually. Very nice. So emerging downtown fades from the European stuff. Over here we have the tram, well, the LRT wrapped around the tram depot. That's a really nice integration of a public transit building, that. And we could totally do that with a normal tram as well. It doesn't have to be the LRT to do this. Back to those tenement homes. Back towards the waterfront here, we'll see a nice little roundabout. Very sensibly put together. There's that bike network we saw again earlier. Love how this splits up and comes over the retaining wall here on multiple layers. Nice use of the terrain there. European super blocks and emerging downtown stuff end the city this side. But we then find another little really fun detailed plaza here. City's got a lot of good inspiration for convergence. Trams, trolleybus meeting in another instance here. Really fun. Of course, there's a pathway there as well, so that looks like that's walkable. The Japanese metro is in, one of my favourite assets, with the Grand Library, Science Centre, Theatre of Wonders, and a little bit of pedestrian water wall. Before the city, unfortunately, comes to quite an abrupt end. You can see, I think, where things were going to go, but unfortunately stopped. The city hasn't hit its node count, so I think the builder just decided to stop the build where it was, which is such a shame because I could have had all of this all the way down. Like a really nice inner city centre. It's a shame to see it just stop so abruptly here. But, every build comes to an end when it feels right, I suppose, doesn't it? But, yeah, a really wonderful waterfront space there. The whole trawl there is packed with so many different styles of assets and ideas and public transit. Really, really nice. I will also note the Opera House on the waterfront by those tram stops we saw earlier. With more plazas and promenades detailing, of course. So really wonderful. While we're out here, we will also grab these little orbital builds on the right, and then we'll swoop this side of the tracks to scoop up the rest of the city here. And then pick off these remaining little orbital builds towards the end of the episode. So back towards the edge of the city here with the emerging downtowns. Now we'll see some rails over here. Really nice use of that station. Great rail trench through the middle here. Really sweet. It's nice, right? We just we want it to go this way as well. Continue the build. Emerging downtown blocks. Very spicy before we go into some very big. Again, what looks to be a pretty unfinished build here. I think this one isn't actually finished yet. But again, we can see more of those residential tower designs coming in. With ploppable or ploppable Rico, I guess, these days. Yeah, even looks like do we even start to prep a pond over here with transit turning around? Looks like this may have been a big park space here by the waterfront. What a shame, Amelia. What a shame. Over here as well, I guess, are these kind of like just outlying unfinished builds, I think, here are we? Obviously beside the airport, which isn't made using the airport's DLC, which isn't something we see very often of anymore at all. But we'll check out the airport. We have monorail here. With tons of car parking of all different styles and variation. With a little bit of nightlife tucked in here. Before we see train tunnels merge, and the airport configuration is the After Dark International and the base game airport, isn't it? Oh, that's a fun way to do that. You've used a bridge network there, haven't you? Like its connection into the terminal. I like that. That's a fun little way to use a path asset. But a decent vanilla configuration. You've kind of gone for essentially fused runways here, haven't you? But yeah, life before the airport's DLC, I think was hard times, wasn't it? I think airports were significantly more restricted back in the day. Definitely recommend grabbing the airport's DLC, by the way. It's certainly one of the better ones. What are we pawning here? 1,304 is not bad. One of my favourite asset stations, this one. Cool. We'll grab all this stuff as we get further out of the map before we'll swing back at this side of the tracks now, mapping through the rest of this inner city space. Back this side of that sunken train station, we'll see a huge city zoo here. Fully fenced in. Complementary detail across the side of the street. Pretty much all the zoo assets. Really nicely configured, that zoo, actually, in kind of an awkward shaped city block here, isn't it? Some amusement park assets also present as well. Which I'm sure the cloth elephants appreciate, of course. One thought as we come up here. We'll see more blocks of European wall-to-wall vanilla buildings, schools, parks. Before we see the monorail also kicking in here as well, which is the one that heads all the way back to the airport there. Seriously long monorail line, that one. Another train station here, of course, another one of Peanuts. Really nicely integrated, actually. It's a super awkward shaped station, this one. But I like what you've done here. We'll also see some other custom little asymmetrical roads here. They're really nice. AI also using them properly as well, which is cool. And then we also see that tram pick up and cross over another recessed arterial highway we'll pick up here in a second. With the aquarium, lots of unique buildings. Residential and commercial mixing, fish market. Notice these little warehouses under the train line as well, of course, giving us some industrial functionality. This brings us back to the old European train station, where we'll see the end of the monorail line. And some nice plaza configuration with theatres, another metro emerging from underground here again as well. With bridges, the cathedral, lots more European vibes over here. I actually wonder, how do we feel, everyone, about wall to wall here? Right in the middle of European. I'm always happy to gauge everyone's opinions on these spice combinations. Let me know what you think. Wall to wall and European, everyone. Does it match? I like it. As we come back through here, we'll see the academic library, statue of Jerry Sr., of course. And before arriving back at the courthouse, with the rest of the towers that we saw by these crazy rail networks over here. Jumping back this side of the tracks, we'll grab this bit of the left of the metro, which is mostly green cities and European, with this really thick 6-lane arterial coming by the Theatre of Wonders into a pretty mega interchange. Let's take a little flow down this highway, shall we? So we're sinking underground to emerge, I guess, over here. Right there into the port, which is equally as busy with all these network layering, isn't it? Holy smokes. We'll get to that. There's a little basic slip ramp interchange here. And then this flows right through the middle of the city. With pretty basic slip ramp interchanges every time it merges off. There's a little slip exit there. Pedestrian bridges. And we love this little triple bridge set up here with the asymmetrical custom road. The trams in the pathway. Well, this recession carries on again with more bridges. Lots of layering throughout the build. But we come to a big roundabout interchange on this side over here, which is very much our outside connections, I think, down that way, isn't it? Again, it's such a shame, isn't it, for the build. It wants to grow so much. Such a shame it had to end. A really nice custom asset there. I have no idea what that is. Right, we'll have a little look. There's the Black Snail's offices. Nice. It does, I guess, look like a black snail. Have a little check of this one. Yeah, Black Snail offices. A unique building by Dowie D. Very nice. Good stuff, that. Nice modern office building. Over this side of the highway now we'll see more Barcelona super blocks with those Eastern European inflections coming back in as well with these towers, I think. Clusters of services, sensible stuff, parking, childcare, police and schools. But we'll see another metro stop here with the Mall of Moderation. Big repeated green cities tower designs through here, right, with the big circular buildings. Classic design, that one. Water wall. Definitely seeing the Barcelona inspiration come through here, aren't we? Love the centralized park here as well. CS Creators Library with more of those little green embellishments just coming through. Obviously more massive residential. Used a ton of high density residential here. I tend to use it quite sparingly really, but I think I probably do need to almost up the use of high density residential. And there's a custom metro station here. And this has to be one of Peanuts, I think, doesn't it? Oh wait, no, is this? Hold on. It is a custom one, I thought it was. Yeah, by Bad Peanut. I thought it would be. Set of ground stations from Peanut, of course. That actually look quite similar to his content creator pack assets. But of course, we all know Bad Peanut's public transit work at this point. Another nice little metro stop here. Before we see those one-way train tracks actually kick in on multiple different directions. Isn't that a really interesting train configuration? Anybody desires in a city train layout, there you go. Coming north through here, we'll grab this stuff. More towers, pedestrian area, malls and parking. Nice little slip roads here, little one-unit roads to relieve the centre intersection slightly. Looks like turning lanes have been factored in here as well. Traffic manager police will be pleased with that. And here we have pathways. The tram, well, the LRT breaks off to run through this suburb. It's such a beautiful visual, isn't it? I love parallel tram and road action. And I'll stop at more of these stations. Right, to have a very small road here, so this commercial can sit as a frontage, which is just a really nice high-density residential space, isn't it? Commercial on the main street, towers around, public transit in the middle. Doesn't really get much better than that, does it? Pretty much pinnacle. Green Cities towers again all the way along here in many different varying combinations. There's parking and parks all around the bottom of them. But we're really kind of disappearing down the river here now, so we'll grab the rest of the city over here. Again, the train networks really split out, don't they? An old abandoned factory park with some rail line in here as well. Definitely think a nod to some previous industrial heritage, I think. Well, big wall-to-wall blocks bring us back into the city, where that train line joins back to the earth. And then we also have 2 stadiums, both base game. That's a matchday DLC, I think, isn't it, actually? Then we come through here into huge park spaces, backing onto those European blocks we saw a moment ago. So I really love this area, how the whole field basically just opens up for this green park. As the LRT goes alongside it, before we see vanilla and more wall-to-wall combinations out this way. An amusement park also lies in the crook of one of the interchanges, and nice and dense. Fun day out to be had with a pretty nice view to the skyline from here as well, I bet. Yeah. No, outlying park area is very sweet, isn't it? Very nice. Really love the skyline here. Nice tasteful natural rise here, isn't there? Crescendo, if you like. This way we'll find some little bits of industry garbage processing, another tram depot, before those residential patterns resume. I'm surprised the city is not higher than 130,000, because there's tons of residential in this, absolutely loads of it. Which then brings us back to that area, up into where the factory was. It pretty much complete the entire downtown district here. It's really dense, there's tons of little details and designs packed in there. And a wider appreciation again, I think, for the road hierarchy through this section. While we're in the downtown, we'll fly back into the port here across those networks we noticed crossing earlier. Metro goes across. An extremely busy harbour. Really wish they would have patched this, you know. Yeah, coming into the harbour, we have, well, lots of harbours, I suppose. Nice industrial. Vanilla stuff going on down here as well, a little bit of fence detailing. A little residential and office park, it would seem. Green space, we see that highway tunnel emerge from here as well, this big swooping metro line, look at that. Isn't that very dramatic? I don't very often use these extremely tall bridges, but really accentuates the layer, doesn't it, when you get that high off the ground. Something I'll try bringing into Ilium maybe as the terrain continues to challenge us. An embanked rail yard here then flows us into the rest of the port, which is made up of port buildings. There's power plants in here. Lots of industrial zone, the vast majority of which looks like it's been plopped, of course, for the container visual amongst the official asset pool. Another elevated bridge here taking us back to a highway network over there. Oh, these little one-by-one commercials don't go unnoticed either. Always a nice compliment to the side of the rail there, isn't it? Very nice. More power plants and ports. As we come into definitely the fishing district of the industry, which also has rail yards, tons of sewage, more industrial zoning. A nice little pier coming out here as well with warehouses. Even the LRT has made it out here as well. It's everywhere, isn't it? Wonderful. Bringing us up to a head. At the top of the port with a really nice view here as well, back to the city centre. Across the industrial section of the city. Very much like with the other side of the map, it looks as though unfortunately the project just came to an end here. Which again is such a shame, because I could have had so much more fun just going down this coastline. But yeah, a little bit of a shame it ends like this here. Could have quite happily carried on exploring this wonderful coastline here. More power plants and sewage with the ultimate recycling centre also in here too, which is a really nice combination of industrial assets here actually. 2 coal plants, a nuclear, and the recycling centre. We'll meet up with that big swooping metro line, which brings us into potentially more of the same what we saw in the downtown, the European super blocks and the vanilla housing, amongst wonderful town centre. Services and parks, car parking under the metro. Trams converging around a really nicely designed city hall area. With some really fun tram networks happening here. Coming on to a really fun bridge. Now this is in the map thumbnail, so I'm guessing this comes with the map itself. But you can tell Teddy Radko has been involved in the building of the map, can't you? I'm pretty sure this does come with the map, this bridge. But it's very nice. This links us back into an arterial road heading us back up to those stadium and European districts we saw earlier by this metro station, where the LRT peels away from the arterial road. And then this metro passes right between this couplet system here, with more housing moving from vanilla to green cities, outlying suburbia. Pedestrian pathways crossing over the roads. There's cycling infrastructure embedded right alongside here too. Then more of that green space. Some cable cars even making an appearance or pick up where they land once we cross back over the river. Before the suburb dissipates into green space, more of those pathways again. Even linking people straight into the station here. Is that actually working? No, so if you wanted this to work, what you'd have to do is force this final segment down to the ground, so they can't actually get on this. So if it's on the earth, I'll show you an example of that while I'm here. So this last segment down to earth. Now it does obviously deform the terrain, you have to hide that yourself. But now it's actually on the ground, and they will be able to connect into the station there. If that's the idea you wanted to run with, of course, I'm assuming that's what was there. You just have to drag this a bit further into the station to hide the terrain tearing here. Or you can make that segment even smaller, so the terrain tearing is less. A few different things we've done in Ilium occasionally with that, especially around the monorail stations. But either way, I think they're pretty happy to... Oh. Oh, you're all coming through there, are you? Oh yeah, there's another pathway there, isn't there? But yeah, case in point, anyway. Nice little arterial corners again, parking, appropriate buildings, little slip lanes and water towers. As the suburb crosses over the river. Which I guess we'll cross over here and then we'll come and grab the mainland again in a second. Into lots of little outlying villages all scattered around here. Where we have different things, plopped commercial, little spaces like this taken care of out in, I guess, what are the rural areas here. Some more little custom network European wavy streets. Brings us up to a train station. More crossing path again. With some wall-to-wall stuff again. It looks like this, again, wanted to be expanded. But it's obviously stopped. But yeah, it's nice. Over here again, you can see where it wanted to expand. It's knocking about in this little waterway as well. Oh, you lot go in. See them coming down here from the main waterway, it looks like. Another town over here. Got a nice blend of grid and curves with European suburbia. Lots and lots of emerging downtown in this instance. And a town centre all based around a ferry stop. Fish market. We'll see this converging at the ferries as well. But nice simple outer-lying township. Sunken highway ramps. A little bit of local supporting industry. Which again, unfortunately, was never finished. This city's such a tease, Emilio. you would have been so nice to see it carry on. Further down from the town, we'll stumble across official asset farming. Actually, I've just noticed there's no Industries DLC in the city, is there? Yeah, I've only just realised that. No Industries DLC, no airports. So we've gone with vanilla farming solutions here. Which is a tricky visual to pull off because they're so small. Like, no field is this small, is it? But I do like these assets. I just think they work much better alongside the Industries DLC stuff rather than just by themselves. So they do have a place, I suppose. Another massive, super cool looking bridge here. Love these suspension cables. Really nice that, isn't it? A big highway bridge. Actually, are they monorail lines? I think they are, aren't they? Yeah, they're single monorail blades. Amazing. That's such a cool design, isn't it? Teddy really is a genius. I'm assuming Teddy did the map. It is a collab between Mr. Miyagi and Teddy. Coming into another little town out here. We'll have a little retaining wall waterfront with some luxurious residential down on the riverfront here. And all this back of commercial detailing taken care of as well. Great stuff. Wall-to-wall with car parking in between, the tax office. Emerging downtowns and vanilla. With big old sweeping of European suburbia around the edge. We've gone for the concrete roads. Just the plain concrete paths here. for the outer-lying roads. This brings us to a roundabout, which then takes us up to a really nice highway interchange. I guess it's like an arterial blended with highway ramps, isn't it? With a little trumpet system here. Again, where you can see it wanted to grow. This wants to come down to connect with the beach arterial, doesn't it? You can see where it wants to just grow out there. Wonderful. That completes, I guess, what is the rural outer-lying side of the map over here. That more wild train networks over here. This looks like map maker stuff, though. Like this far out, this train interchange over this way. Which has unfortunately got a dead train on it. It's just not moving. Go, you idiot. Causing backups. We'll head back down the coast here. To where we left off from the main part last time. Arriving at where there was cable cars coming, converging with another metro train station, sorry, in this instance. A little pedestrian road here. We can see that cycle network continue to resume. This is the path that we saw leaving the downtown at the start of the video. Now arriving here. To converge with again, just a mass blend. Just look at this here, right? We've got emerging downtowns, green cities, wall to wall. Lots of vanilla assets, European suburbia here. A really nice blending of all the DLCs. Again, a testament to ploppable Rico being the ultimate way to play, I think, so you can blend the district styles like this. Really nice. Pedestrian pathways, crossing over all the networks here. I love the parallel train and highway here. Moving into commercial main streets that have trolley bus on them. It's nice to see some trolley bus, not a form of transit we see very often on City Showcase at all. But I really love these streets, right? Emerging downtowns work so well for this vibe. Little med clinics, perfectly chosen corner assets. A view to the skyline, perchance. There it is. I'm looking the wrong way. Yeah. There it is. Isn't that wonderful? That's a really nice shot there, actually. Such a labour of love has gone into crafting these little layers here, hasn't it? Really nice. This then dissipates into European suburbia with schools, commercial. Little highway rest stop here is really sweet. Yeah, the 2 gas stations and a bit of garbage collection. Very nice with some bridges. Also kind of L-shaping us back to this big green city suburb. Which again, a little appreciation in the comments for the road hierarchy planning here. Clearly knows what they're doing in terms of planning networks out, arterial structures to roundabouts, highways, walkability. Really nice stuff. And the road type is switching through here as well, back to these custom tram roads, which work really nicely with green cities, don't they? Taking this as a spice sample right here. Really pretty. Great little suburb, this. And we keep following the arterial. Again, sort of blends of Emilio's favourite combinations. It's just something really nice and tasteful about that high street, isn't there? Really nice. Possibly the best arterial view in the city there. That might be our thumbnail today, perhaps. We'll see. Green space and suburbia wrap up all this edge. And these networks here pacing back off take us toward the stadiums we saw over here earlier. And we see again the tram leaves the pedestrian road on its own network. I can't imagine the city stopped because of the node count. There is quite a lot of nodes in this city, but I don't think we've got enough of them to hit the node count yet. So I can't imagine that's the reason why the build finished at the sides that we've seen. Love all this as well, right? Wonderful little creative uses of node controller here. Blending different types of network together. Also, this is just a one-way tram road, isn't it? So there's 2 different tram lines converging here in the town. Yeah, there you go. There's the other one. But there is also a tram coming back this way as well. There's a stop there. Interesting. Really nice road configuration, that, isn't it? Node controller can do wonders for your networks. Very sweet. The LRT then continues on embankment with its own little bridge network. That's so nice. Look at that. Isn't that just so gorgeous? It then comes over the buildings and elevates. Very Noob Yoke style here. I love this. Yeah, this is very Noob Yoke. I really like that. Reminds me a lot of the end of the city over here. Over these embanked tram lines flowing around. Really a lot of fun. Pathways back down to the suburb too. Great scenes, and then you've got the trains coming under this. Isn't that wonderful layering? Great use of your terrain there, everyone. Rather than having everything flat or just regular, straight up and down bridges. Down here, I think we're just looking at mass European suburbia. More transit spaces here with trains stopping with buses. And then the usual collection of services. Some Green Cities row homes also make a brief appearance here too. Just done these in Ilium recently. And that brings us to another road that will sadly never be grown. So upsetting, isn't it? Every time. I feel my little heart flutter every time I see an unfinished road where the build should have gone. Super, we can see all this European over here back by that highway rest stop. With views to the villages we saw earlier. More really wild train intersections. I think I might get a bigger train short today of all these networks flowing around one another. Crossing over the highway, the endless outer line districts continue. With metro embedded. All follow along. I tell you what, actually, I bet we can get a really good sense of the transit planning by having a look at the bus lines here. Or all the lines, really. How they're all kind of following the road hierarchy. Everyone's kind of going this direction in varying different layers. And of course you've got the outer connections to the airport and whatnot. But yeah, it's nice how everyone's kind of going where the roads go, you know. It's nicely planned lines. More green space, immaculately integrated with Green Cities embellishments. Loads of trees and plazas tucked in alleyways behind apartments with fencing to discover. More fencing to discover. Amazing. Little high school campus here. And lots of green cities. I think it's clear what DLCs Emilio loves the most, isn't it? Made in downtowns, wall to wall, and Green Cities are sponsoring today's episode, everyone. Little palm-lined cycling streets. Brings up into what is another little tasteful mid-rise centre here. We're certainly playing with more medium density vibes around this hospital. Which is a little, you know, if you want like a little mini pop, a little centre of activity and administration and whatnot. A little bit of vanilla residential, and a hospital does a pretty convincing job of that, doesn't it? Another peanut station is out here. As like the rails get even more insane, splitting off in loads of different combinations here. I'll let the rail police decide if it's okay or not. I have no jurisdiction there, I'm afraid. Schools. More commercial park space. Unique buildings in and around the European suburbia. With the tram roads taken on before again it leaves off on its own network. Heading back all the way down toward that metro that we saw crossing the road over here. It's really fun. There's a lovely organic flow to the city. Which is why I'm so disappointed. I want to see more of the organic flow. I want to see the entire downtown wrapped in it. You'd have to let us know why you didn't finish the project, Emilio. It looks like you wanted to. Because you were planning for those networks to go somewhere, I think. Maybe it was a PC issue. Maybe your PC just couldn't run and load the city anymore. Modded after 130,000, I imagine, will probably start to introduce a few issues about. Vanilla housing lies out here. Great example here of how much better European suburbia is, isn't it? Compared to these things. It's fine, they're not all terrible. These ones are alright. These here. And then this big vanilla district continues. Again, with more admiration for the road hierarchy coming off these arterial connections. Simple grid and curves blended together. With another major highway system around here as well, and with bus-only slip roads coming on. Which the buses are using. There you go. A few more of them using it here. Great stuff. He's going to go ahead and get onto that big old bridge, heading off to the other town there. Really fun. And then back over here, more highway slip ramps. With, is that bus IMT? Or is that the network? Hold on. Oh no, it must be the network. The intersection marking tool isn't being used. Or is it just decals? Yeah, it's decals, isn't it? Yeah. I thought it was IMT. Yeah, bus only decals. That's a fun little detail to notice. It's the only part of the city I've noticed this in. But you can do this with the intersection marking tool, by the way. It does have a way to type your own text onto the roads now. Very painstaking, but it is fun. And then back to industry out here. Road maintenance, zoned industry in some nice configurations here. Got some pretty dirty, grim back alleys between all these buildings. Garbage processing. More zoning and parking before we see what looks to be the final train station. Up and over here. Which wraps off the bulk of this area. Heading back toward the rural towns, we'll notice a little industrial battery, garbage recycling and train processing. Some vanilla forestry also in here as well. Again, it wants the industry's DLC, doesn't it? I think that the problem with the base game stuff on its own is it looks so small scale, doesn't it? Then again, having said that, this is a really nice timber yard aesthetic, isn't it? I feel like this just wants a pulp mill in the background, doesn't it? Just to give it the industrial chunk. Really kind of highlights how good the industry's DLC actually is, actually. With those specialised buildings and the factories that you get with it. And then same over here again. Some ore industry this time. Which again just wants the ore industry's DL stuff with it, doesn't it? But so it's doing a job for the production chain. Which then leads us off to our final town. Again, off some wild interchange work. Look at this. It's like a cloverleaf slip ramp variation in some form, this, I guess. Couldn't give it a decisive name. Out here, off this interchange, we'll discover the Aviation Club, which has been partnered with some really nice assets, actually. A little triplet of offices. The Weather Research Station, Garbage Collection and Park Maintenance. That does sit quite nice as a little aviation complex. I'm on board with that. And over here, I found a little town of European suburbia, served by trains yet again. Which is actually a one-way train line here. That's very interesting. Maybe you must be one-way, two-way, I assume. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's doubling back on itself here, isn't it? I wonder why you chose to go with the single track line here. It goes back to 2 here again then, doesn't it? Yeah. Something to notice at least. Windy, curvy European suburbia. Of course, with Emilio's signature emerging downtown row homes solution, which looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Again, we've just done this in Ilium, which is really nice. I love this aesthetic of all the old wooden homes coming down. Really cool. Love all of this. Love all of this. Very nice. Another little tram stop here, or bus stop even. With these custom platform shelters, I suppose, and benches. Stopping again by a train station here. Get a sense of scurry, hopefully. Yeah, it's nice and busy through here. People walking off the stations where you would expect people to. Yeah, it's all just nice, dense, small town vibes, isn't it? I love this here with the plaza and the emerging downtowns. Nice little street corner. A little bit of industry also blended in here as well. There's some fishing and a fish market. Even more zoned industry here, actually. Surprised these are surviving. I thought these residentials would have complained of the factories nearby. It's at a service point blended with an old factory. I've never seen that before. Diffusing here with the containers out the front. Again, for small town inspiration here. Keep it simple, keep it grid. Plazas and small buildings. Especially those row homes. I really love the row homes down this street here on the left. So, I just love emerging downtowns. I could build an entire city out of emerging downtowns. Which wraps up the last area. And again, we can see more. It's so sad, Emilio, that the map will, I guess, never be fully completed, because I think you wanted to. I think we can see where all these little mini connections all across the edges of the map were looking like they were going to grow. But unfortunately, not to be, Emilio. But beyond that, the bits of the city that are built out, you've done absolutely wonderful job. Incredible fan of that big glass box train station plaza in the front of the downtown. That's really nice inner city spaces stitched together. Incredible transit work. The trams and the trains in particular are something to really take note of here. Train police, I'm sure, will be very happy indeed. A huge shout out to the YouTube members and patrons bankrolling these videos. If you want to get involved in that, links to both are down below. And if you want your work to feature next time, there's a link down below in the video description. Fill it out and we'll get your city up on City Showcase. Which I think this is episode 40 of the City Showcase series now. So thank you for all of you who have submitted. It's been such a fun series to make, to explore something that isn't my own builds, because, you know, I spend so much time looking at my own stuff. This is such a nice change of pace for me from recording. And also take some ideas as well, you know, I definitely walk away back into Ilium totally inspired from what I see in these builds, as I've already done a few fusings that we've seen in this series so far. So please do keep them coming. Thoroughly enjoy these videos, and I hope you are as well. Hang around for the cinematics of San Palma, and I'll shut up and leave it there. I thank you all again so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.